Thank you, Convener. Good morning, panel, and thanks for coming along this morning, virtually or in person. Be really keen to get your perspective on a number of aspects of the bill. The first thing I'd like to explore is round about the way that the bill focuses on behaviours, and it's defined as behaviours that may cause harassment, alarm, or distress, as you're aware. So the first question is, how does that wording, in your experience, relate to the activities that are conducted by groups standing outside abortion provision centres? And do you see, so the question, how does that wording relate to what you experience that occurs outside the centres? So I don't know who wants to go first.
Thank you very much. And just to say that we're grateful for this opportunity to speak to the committee so that we can present the views of those who hold pro-life views and who want to hold these vigils, and also, as Isabel said, to try to help women who may well want help at that particular point. Behaviour, Ivan, is, as the police described, it is static, peaceful vigils. That's the behaviour. So it would be, in effect, as far as we can see, criminalising static, peaceful vigils.
Just to reiterate what Bishop John has said, pro-life vigils in Scotland are a peaceful presence, primarily there to pray and not a protest. There's never been an arrest relating to pro-life vigils, and Police Scotland have confirmed, both in writing and to this committee, as I understand, that existing legislation is sufficient in the event of intimidation and harassment, but no behaviour of pro-life vigils has ever met that threshold. To echo a concern raised by Isabel, the proposed bill makes explicit mention to silent vigils and to prayer. To criminalise prayer and thought is an alarming precedent to set, and one that I would encourage this committee to consider the ramifications of, and how thought and silent prayer might fit that description that Mr. McKee has stated.
Okay, thanks. I don't know if anyone online wants to comment on that issue. Okay. I mean, moving on from that, I suppose we'd be interested in understanding how, if the bill is passed and those behaviours are protesting outside clinics is made illegal, how that would impact on the individuals who take part in those protests at the moment. We heard some evidence in private session on this, so I'd be really keen to get your perspective on that this morning as well.
The individuals who take part in the
protest.
Individuals. Yeah, I think, as Isabel made the point, I think we are concerned that that it is essentially the pro-life view is a view that is fairly mainstream in Scottish society. It's held reasonably. It's held, those who would hold it, they would hope on the basis of some scientific evidence of the nature of what happens in the womb. We would say the child in the womb. That's how we would put it. So it's a reasonable position to hold in Scottish society. It's held by the Catholic Church in Scotland, and it is held in good faith. So our concern is, as was expressed, I think, by Alina, is that it almost is saying that to be pro-life is inappropriate. To be pro-life is unacceptable. And remember, there is the provision in this bill to extend it to GP clinics, to counselling services, to pharmacies. So potentially this bill allows for these zones where it's unacceptable to be pro-life in Scotland. So I think laws affect social perceptions. And I think we need to be really careful that if we go down the road of legislating for this, it really makes almost, in popular opinion, unacceptable the position to be pro-life.
Right, thanks. Yeah, I think the human rights issues and the wider impact and the issue of silent pay are something we're going to come on and talk about later in the session, but we'll certainly come back to that. Final point I was... Oh, sorry, please.
No.
Dr Pickering, would you like to come in? Sorry.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to contribute. You've asked the question about protest, but I think it's very significant that the word protest does not occur in the text of the bill. The offence that is being created is that of influencing anyone who may wish to access abortion. And the bill is called the Safe Access Zones. As we've heard already, I don't think there's an issue about safety for those trying to get to premises or even access. The real question is about influence. And there is an assumption by much of the evidence or the discussion around this that any influence which might lead a woman to make a different choice, such as Alina did, that influence is always negative, and it's put in terms of protest. You know, we're given the impression that people will be shouting or waving placards, and I think Isabel's very cogently talked about the perception that is given, but actually we're generally talking about the provision of information, and so that is definitely that would be an effect of this bill, to reduce the information that is being given to women. I think it's really important to be clear that in that question of influence, which is central to the bill, in a really polarized ethical issue such as abortion, there are very few neutral spaces, there are very few neutral opinions, and the opinions of those who want to see this bill brought, who want to raise concerns about protests, as they would call it, they are often highly polarized in one direction. And even the staff within abortion premises, they are not neutral themselves. They may be very nice people, but still there is certainly a tendency to influence a woman in one direction, because that is, where the staff have gone to. So